Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, you're going to have Dan. Dan is from Bristol in England, in the UK. So let's see what Dan has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello Dan, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You're right.
I'm very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you for the invite. It's cool. Looking forward to it.
So tell me, how's your weekends going so far?
It's been all right. Yeah, it's been a fairly quiet one, but I needed it. Yeah. What about yours?
Great. I think I love the weekend vibe. I like, the vibe when, you can do organize different things that you didn't do during the week because you're busy with work. You can meet a friend, you can go to the cinema, you can always do something that you are in control of it, somehow that you can organize it. And I think that's what I like the most about the weekend. And you can sleep a little bit over longer as well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's always a nice bonus, isn't it? Yeah, that extra hour or 2 hours in bed is quite nice.
Tell me where you're from, Jen.
From Bristol, I live in Bristol.
Ooh,
But grew up in Essex originally, but been Bristol 25 years now, but still consider
wow.
I'm still not a proper Bristolian yet, even though I'm married to a Bristolian and as I built a life here. What about you, William? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Brazil, but I live in London. I've been living in England most of my life. I lived in Portugal for a few years before moving here, but I've been London is home. England is being home for me for a few years for sure.
Oh, cool,
So
cool.
tell me, what's the biggest joy of waking up in Bristol every morning?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I really like Bristol. It's a really vibrant city, and I live on the outskirts of Bristol, and and that's quite cool because um, not far from the city centre, not far from Bath where I live. I don't know if you're familiar with Bath.
Yes,
Bath is
yeah.
a beautiful city, so that's pretty close. But the fact that I'm not that far from Wales, I can go over to the beach. Everything's within kind of touching distance from Bristol. So I think that's the best thing about living in Bristol.
Wow. And if I would come to Bristol for the very first time, tell me a place or that I shouldn't miss it. What's the postcard of the city in your opinion?
Yeah, the Clifton Suspension Bridge, that's
Okay.
pretty cool. That goes across the Bristol Gorge, was designed by a chap called Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Are you familiar with Isambard Kingdom Brunel?
No, I'm not familiar.
Oh, he was like in the Victorian era, that guy was a pop star. He like designed loads of the railways and stuff. And the Clifton Suspension Bridge was the first bridge of its type in the entire world. And my understanding is the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco was based on the fundamental principles of that suspension bridge. So that's pretty cool. It's amazing views.
Wow, this made my day. I learned something new. I love it.
Oh, there you go. I'm glad I could help.
And what do you do for work for living, Dan?
I work for a local authority, but I also have my own business called Managing on the Spectrum.
Okay.
And Managing on the Spectrum, I've kind of been building that in my mind for a couple of years. But I went live with that at the end of September last year. And Managing on the Spectrum, I work with kind of autistic ADHDers around, you know, how to support. I know I was diagnosed with autism 2 years ago, and it was like, whoa, it's a lot to get your head around, a lot to understand. And when I got that diagnosis, there really wasn't much support out there. So
Right.
I have set up Manager on the Spectrum to kind of do that and yeah, do the mentoring, like it's called, yeah, mentor people. I doing some training in a local college recently. That was cool last week. Did a couple of days last week, got a couple of days coming up this week. That's fantastic. Get young people in a room, get them engaged. Can't really beat that. That's really cool. So I love that bit.
Amazing. Wow, I love that. Somehow we find we start a career or a journey based on our experience, in life and things that we just discovered something new about ourselves. I think it's amazing to be able to help others. Amazing.
Yeah. And I've spent my entire life working with autistic and neurodivergent people. Just took me a long time to realize I myself was neurodivergent. Um, but I'm fortunate because I've the trained as a nurse, trained as a social worker, spent 20 plus years working in that field. So now I'm able to apply kind of what I've learned throughout my career with my own lived experience to support people. So I feel very fortunate that I can do that. I'm very, very lucky.
Amazing. Okay, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your journey, okay?
Yeah, cool.
But before we start our journey, within the magic box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself, or maybe something that not many people know about you.
Oh, that's something I shared this the other day with somebody. When I was 19, I found myself in India. I was traveling around India. I wanted to go to India before I went to before I started uni, before I started my nursing course. And I went around India flipping a coin. Yes, like heads or tails. And I ended up in Himachal Pradesh. So I ended up in a place called Dharamsala.
Wow.
And when I was there, the Dalai Lama was there doing a visit. So I went and listened to him speak,
Wow.
which was kind of, yeah, very surreal. And I was, what, 18, 19, and now I'm not 18 or 19 anymore. I can reflect back on it. But yeah, that was an amazing experience. So yeah, not many
Wow.
people know that.
Wow, that's very interesting for sure. I'm just like picturing like very spiritual people now listen to this and they go like, my God, what a privilege to be there, listen to him. Oh my God, that's amazing.
It was so surreal, Dharmasala. I don't know, William, if you've ever been to India. Are you
I
familiar with
haven't
India?
been to India, no, never been to India before.
India is amazing, but in Dharmasala, kind of obviously you have like the Tibetan monks, and then I'm walking around in my Western civilization, like my Western clothes, and I stood out like a sore thumb. But yeah, it does make me laugh really because there would have been people there who would have that was a pilgrimage, but the arrogance of youth, so to speak. I was 18, having a nice time, and I just literally happened to be there when he was there. It's just really funny looking back on it.
Wow.
But yeah, it was an amazing experience. Yeah, it was really cool. It was he was kind of in the center, and then they had radios for different languages. Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow. I'm glad you shared that. Amazing. Then are ready to go on a beautiful journey through memories in life and share your point of views?
Yeah,
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I
cool.
have here my best friend. Full of random questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just first to relax before the first question, okay?
Okay, cool,
Let's do it.
cool.
Right, so before I start the interview, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about or you don't want to answer, always can take another one, okay?
Okay, that's fine.
Amazing. First question is, what's your idea of a perfect friendship?
Perfect friendship has to be somebody who you might not see them for weeks or months or years, but when you meet with them, it's like you saw each other yesterday. You just carry on where you left off. Those are, yeah, I think those are the kind of the best friendships because yeah, you just carry on. There's no apologies for not speaking or whatever. You just get back into the groove and carry on, and it's like you spoke 5 minutes ago, not a couple of years ago. So for me, I think it's a really good friendship.
Wow. Tell me a friend that when you are feeling the lowest or when you are feeling not your best, this person comes to your mind for you to share it or to talk a little bit more about it. And the same person, when you're feeling the happiest, you go like, oh my God, I need to share this moment with these friends. Which person comes to your mind?
A chap called Matt. I've known Matt for a very long time. When I went to uni the first time. So yeah, 2001 when I started my nursing. Yeah, so Matt and I've been friends for a long time, and yeah, we've kind of when you've well, I mean, it's scary now. That's 25 years ago. I can't quite believe where the time's gone. But yeah, when you've kind of had shared experiences and lived experiences together. So yeah, Matt's he's a top man. Matt is he's somebody that yeah we've kind of lived our lives together. When kind of seen our kids grow up together and all that stuff. And those those kind of experiences you have when you're a teenager. Those are the ones that form and bond you, aren't they? So, yeah, I think yeah, it would be Matt who I always think of.
Wow, amazing. And what's the biggest difference between you and Matt and the biggest similarity between both of you?
Uh, um, what's the biggest difference? Matt, Matt is a he's very Matt comes across as quite confident, but he isn't. And it's
Uh-huh.
probably the other way around. Sometimes I can come across as I lack confidence. Actually, I've always had that fairly. I've always that kind of inner confidence. So I think I think that's probably the biggest difference between Matt and I.
And this is the biggest similarity.
Biggest similarity. Well, we both trained to do our nursing. We're doing learning disability nursing. So,
Wow.
and yeah, I think we both um, set out to support people that couldn't support themselves, and our careers have gone in different trajectories. I have a very different role now to what I trained to. Matt has stayed pure to that. He's like a real, like he's true to it. But the reason why I trained to be a nurse when I was 18 is still
Uh-huh.
there now, which is probably why I've set up managing on the spectrum because I've not lost that. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, we say we want to help those people that can't help themselves. I think that'd be a
Wow.
similarity.
I find so fascinating when we have those friends that, as you said, you meet very young age when you're very young, and suddenly, they still keep in your life. Sometimes you don't see them very often, or you don't, but they're still there. It's somehow you connect again, and I love those people because they've seen you from different phases of your life, and that's fascinating for sure.
Yeah, it is absolutely, isn't it? Yeah, and Matt and I we met just before Christmas, and we were having the same things really, like how kind of how much we've both done in the last 25 years or so, and how things
Wow.
have changed. But it's quite cool to meet somebody who you've been friends with all that time to realize, well, actually, I'm still at my core, I'm still the same person. So that's quite nice as well, really, because I think as life goes on, you get different experiences, and I think sometimes you feel like you have potentially moved away from who you were.
Yeah,
But actually, it's quite nice it's like grounding, I think, having friends like Matt.
amazing, very good. You're gonna be very happy to watch the interview when you mention him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have to tell him, definitely.
Next question. Okay, next question for you is, who is a celebrity you admire and why?
Oh, I'm not great with celebrities. Who do I admire? Um, oh, I'm not sure if this counts, and I'm in danger of being political here, William, so let me know. But I think I quite like I quite like I quite like Bernie Sanders, the politician in America, because it's a interesting environment over there, and yet he's always very measured in what he says, and he's somebody that has a massive platform and could potentially really, kind of be very emotive, but he's not. He's always very considered with what he says. He never goes on the personal. He always presents the facts in a way that it gives him kind of validity. I think, yeah, I think, yeah. So, yeah, maybe whether he's a celebrity or not, we could debate. But he's definitely someone who, whenever I kind of see him and hear him, I'm like, yeah, he's a man with a good mind and a good heart, and so he doesn't kind of drop to the lowest common denominator, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Wow, amazing. And if you had the opportunity to meet him one day or to have a seat and to have a meal with him, what would be your first question to him?
How do you stay so calm and unemotive when there is so much emotion? I think that's a real kind of personal act, like it's a real strength of character because I feel like, again, I'm in danger of going off on a tangent here, and I'm quite good at that, William. So bring me back. But there is so much emotion going on around the world, and like it feels that we've almost lost the ability to step back from the emotion and be objective. and he manages to do that. He manages to maintain that objectivity. He manages to kind of just separate himself from the emotion. And I think given the current climate where he's working, I think I'd ask him, yeah, how do you do that? Is it natural? Is it something you've learned? Is it maybe it's a bit of both? Because I think we could all learn from that. Sometimes we all get caught up in the emotion and actually that ability to just step back and look at the facts and consider the facts,
Wow.
and present. I was having a conversation the other day with somebody, and they were saying that sometimes sometimes opinion gets presented as fact, and they
Uh-huh.
were right. And I think that's really dangerous. My opinion is my opinion, your opinion is your opinion. If I
Perfect.
start to say my opinion is fact, then that's not true. So it's
Wow.
about backing up what you've said with evidence.
Wow. Amazing. Saying that, what's the biggest joy of being them? What do you like the most about being you?
Oh gosh, that's a question. Um, I think the biggest joy is that my brain is constantly active. I have an autism diagnosis. I'm fairly sure I'm ADHD as well. And um, my life has gone in a completely different route to how I thought it would even 5, 10 years ago. So I like the fact that my brain is never quiet. Like it's always looking for something else. It's always looking um, to explore. I think that can be quite tiring for people who live with me, my wife and my children sometimes. But yeah, I like it's always looking. It's always looking for something else to do, and yeah, that growth. So I think that's pretty cool. Really, I wouldn't want to lose that.
I love that. I think being proactive, when your mind is always everywhere, you're always thinking about something, there's always something that you can explore, there's always something that you can create. And I think it can be a bit tiring sometimes, but
Oh, it's
mo-
definitely tiring.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
most of the time you find like, oh my God, that's amazing to be navigating through different ideas or different creative place to be. I think I love that as well. I understand your
yeah.
point.
I say it can be tiring, and that's part of again looking. I know I'm at risk of burnout sometimes from doing too much, and part of that is stepping back. But at the same time, if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't have had the. I like to think my life's quite interesting. Now that's subjective, right? Other people might look at your life and go, "Damn, that was boring as anything." But personally, I think I've had quite an interesting life, and it's because my brain is always looking over there for something else.
Amazing. Great. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, so before the next question, tell me what you like the most about being a neurodivergent mentor. What do you like the most about it?
You know what? The best thing about that, and it kind of goes back to what's the best thing about working with people. So throughout my career as a nurse and social worker, it's that, people they come to you at their most vulnerable and they ask for help. And the best thing about it is actually the way I help is actually, well, it's your brain and it's how to understand it. And when you start to see people it's not a magic trick. A lot of what I talk about in mentoring is quite simple, but sometimes our brain overcomplicates things. So when people I was talking about stepping back, and I do think there's a lot within that. And when people start to step back and they're like, oh, okay, they start to get it. They start to trust themselves. They start to trust their instincts. They start to, they start to feel feel like who they are because being neurodivergent, particularly being undiagnosed is really tough. But when being neurodivergent, you spend your life second guessing yourself. You spend yourself doubting yourself. And when I get to work with people and like, oh, actually, they get that confidence back.
Mhm.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I love that. Yeah, and also I could apply that to my entire career. When I've worked with people in various settings, it's the power to change is within, and once people realise that, you're not a victim to your brain. Actually, you can control your brain, and actually. All brains are amazing, neurotypical and neurodivergent, but once you can start to tap into the strengths of your brain, there's something nice about going from being the passenger to driving, if that makes sense. And I love that. That's really cool.
Amazing. Great. Next question is, what is one movie you could watch over and over again?
The Simpson movie. I love The Simpsons. Much to my kids. Well, actually, my kids are now watching it as well, but I think I've converted them. But yeah, I love the Simpson movie. It's complete. That's when my brain is switched off. It's so funny. I can't wait for the next one to come out. I've got it in my diary. It's not released till July 2027, so it's not released till yeah. But I love the Simpson movie. I don't even need it. I don't even need the sound on. In fact, if I start it in the room, I leave the room to do something else and come back in. I know exactly where it's at. Do you know what I mean? Like one of those films. So yeah, it's Spider Pig. You can't beat a bit of Spider Pig on the ceiling. Have you seen that film, William? Have you seen
No,
The
I'm not sure if I have actually. I'm not sure. I love movies as well, and I go to the cinemas every weekend. I love movies, but I'm not sure if I've seen it. I think The Simpsons, it's in our lives. My God, it just turned 40 years since the first.
Yeah, it's been around. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been
It's
around for a long time.
so successful. Like I think everyone knows about them. I think it's amazing. You know what I mean? It's so interesting because when you watch them, it's just like they play with the what's happening in the world with different characters. I just love them. Which one is your favorite character?
Oh, I quite like. I quite like. I'll say the bus driver. He's quite funny. Yeah, he's quite funny. Snake as well. I think Snake's hilarious. Yeah, I really like Snake. Um, yeah, 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 those two characters. Yeah, yeah.
Then talking about life. What's the meaning of life for you, Dan? When you think about life?
I think. Oh, this sounds a bit cheesy, but if you can leave the world a slightly better place from being in it, that's what I try and do. I think it's that. Yeah, the yeah, trying to make the world a slightly better place from you being there. I think if we could all do that, then the world, because I think, it's interesting, isn't it? Because like sometimes people think about change being massive, and there are certain people in certain lives that have the ability to make massive change. But I think for a lot of us, we're like pebbles in the pond. But there's 8 billion of us at the moment, and if each of those pebbles in the pond have a positive ripple, then ultimately you'd have that would benefit everybody. So for me, yeah, I want to be a positive ripple in the pond.
Great, I like that. I like this way of thinking. And tell me a life lesson that life has taught you that you feel very grateful for it.
To never give up, to
Mhm.
keep going, and that the things that feel the most painful are the stuff you kind of learn from the most. And I think, I think it's that. We yeah, I think for that yeah, it's a bit of a cliche I know as well, but I've learned so much when I look at the tough periods in my life and when things have gone wrong.
Mhm.
Actually, I've learned more from that than when things have done well. I think, yeah, that's what I've learned. And yeah, keep going. It's what I tell my kids. Like the difference between success and failure is those who fail stop trying. You need to keep going, and that's really tough sometimes. It can be really tough, but yeah, you just need to keep going, and you'll get there. And the interesting thing with getting there, and I reflect on this myself, is if you'd asked me where was getting there, Dan, like 10 years ago, if you'd said, Dan, what does success look to you like in 10 years' time? What I would have said 10 years ago to what I feel now are very different places. And that's interesting as well. So, you know, it's, yeah, but yeah, keep going.
Never stop. I think life is about that. Take as a gift every day. Life is a gift every single day. You need to always keep going. You know what I mean? The direction that you think is the right for you, for
Yeah. And
sure.
also, I feel like sometimes, um, we try and control everything and we can't. There are just
No?
things out of our control, but people spend an awful lot of time focusing on the stuff you can't control.
Yeah,
It's wasted energy. I
totally.
can't control the weather. I don't like the weather. I can't control it. But so why focus on it? What can I control? Control what I'm going to wear. Maybe I should have had a better choice for this particular decision. Do you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. I think it's wasted. Yeah, yeah. People spend a lot. Yeah, wasted energy on stuff you can't control.
Great. 3 questions left. Let's do it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, before the next question, of course, you're talking about your kids, your wife, and I could see your eyes shining talking about them. So tell me, what's the biggest joy of being a dad?
Oh God, it's amazing being a dad. I love it. It's the best thing I've ever done. Like just hands down. I think it's seeing your children grow. Like the first time you see your kids are on the scan. The first time my daughter will hate me saying this, but I'm going to say anyway. When my wife was 8 weeks pregnant, we had a scare with my eldest daughter, and like we thought she might have lost her, and she had a scan, and all we saw was a heartbeat and a bunch of cells. And nearly 13 years later, that heartbeat and a bunch of cells is now in the room next door to me. She's a wonderful human being, and just seeing her grow. And I've got my children are 12 and 9, and seeing them grow, it's amazing. It's amazing kind of seeing them grow, and I'm very lucky. They're both two wonderful girls, and seeing them, it's seeing their opinions develop. I love it. Absolutely love it, And my favorite time of the day, I don't know if this is traditional, but we always have dinner together. We always do. We always have dinner together. I love that at the end of the day where we sit down and we catch up and find out about each other's days and, you know, have discussions. And a couple of weeks ago, my youngest started, Daddy, what was before the Big Bang? and then we and then we started having a discussion about the universe and kind of different theories about that. I love those conversations. Just the whyness, and I hope I still like to think I have that whyness like in my 40s, and I hope they keep that. I think again, if we stop asking questions, then that's when things go wrong. So yeah, it's amazing being a dad. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Wow, amazing. Next
Do you
question
have
for you.
children, William? Do you have children? Sorry to ask. Is that
No, it's okay, of course. I don't have children. However, I have a 6-year-old godson, in Canada. He's the son of my best friend. And
oh, amazing?
it's like a son for me. I treat him like as a son because it's interesting because I always wanted to have a child. Like back in Brazil as a teenager, I remember I always had in my mind, my God, one day I want to be a dad. I want to have a child. And it's so interesting because at the time when I was thinking about that, somehow you picture this child in your head, like the picture of this child. Guess what? Then my godson is exactly how I pictured when I was a teenager, like as an adult, when I thought about having a son. It's so interesting.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's amazing because I remember the first time I saw him and he saw me as well. It's interesting because he's so my best friend, he's French, yeah, but they
Mhm.
live his partner, both of them they live in Montreal in Canada. And of course, he was born during the COVID time.
Oh,
So
yeah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the first time when I saw my godson, of course, I was seeing him, in camera. So it took like I think he was 2 or 3 years 2 years, I think, the first time when I saw him in person. And of course, so the first time when I went to Canada to see him for the first time, when I arrived there, he was already sleeping because it was during the evening. So I went to his bedroom just to see him a little bit sleeping. And I said to my friend, in the morning when he wakes up, when you see that, just send me a message. I come all the way up because I would like to see him like first thing in the morning. So he sent me a message. And of course, he speaks French. He doesn't speak English now for now. And I was a bit afraid, scared that maybe he would get scared to see me for the first time, like alone in his bedroom. I don't know. I was a bit afraid. And so I went all the way up there. And when I opened the door, I could see him. And he looked at me for a few seconds. He literally just looked at me and he put his arm like that for him to pick him up. I literally
Oh,
couldn't
amazing.
believe. Literally, like few seconds, he literally looked at me for a few 3 seconds, and he just put his arm up, like for me to pick him up, and it was amazing. That's somehow the connection started there, and even his mom, she was like, "My God, I never see him so like excited to see someone and talk." I said, "Of course, it's something. The connection was there since the very beginning." So yeah, I don't have a son, but I considered him as a son for sure. My godson.
Oh, that's amazing. That's cool. Oh, yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's amazing. It's really
Amazing.
cool.
Okay, next question is, oh, tough question now. If you had only 24 hours of life, what would you do?
Oh, gosh, that is a tough question, isn't it? What would I do in 24 hours? God, doesn't there's not much time. Definitely not sleep then. Um, I think I would. I, I, I'd spend it with my wife and my children. You know,
Oh,
I think they are the people that give me the most joy in life, and yeah, kind of maybe the things we haven't had a chance to do that we've always put off because you always think tomorrow's going to come. Yeah, I think yeah, I would do those. So I'd do I'd do the things they want to do. My wife does outdoor swimming. I can't stand it. I don't like the cold, but I know she'd be happy. I'd do that. I'd do that with her. Yeah, that would make her happy. I
oh,
don't know what the girls would want me to do. Go bowling. We like bowling as a family. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. And it would be 24 hours. You wouldn't want to be spending lots of time traveling. So I would, yeah, you know, yeah, I would stay local so we weren't losing time traveling. And yeah, 24 hours as a family, that would be yeah, that
wow.
would be really cool. Swimming, we go swimming together, doing stuff like that. Yeah, going to the gym. Yeah, just doing the things we watch. Probably watching the Simpson movie with them. That would be quite a
Yeah.
nice thing to do. Yeah, that's what I'd do like 24 hours. Yeah.
Tell me the very first time that your path crossed with your wife. How did it happen, if you can share?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Um I was working in a nursing home. I've just trained, I qualified as a nurse, and my wife had come in to submit her job application, and I passed her on the stairs, and it was just like, wait, just like like for me, it was love at first sight. Now my wife doesn't necessarily have the same recollection, but for me, yeah, I was just like, yeah, just blown away by her. It was, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it was amazing, really. So, yeah, um, yeah, yeah, she just passed me on the stairs, and then she applied for the job and got the job.
wow.
And
You're
then
like,
we,
yeah. You're like, yes.
yeah, but then it just kept on. It was so weird because I got so embarrassed around her, and she'd get embarrassed around me. So she started, and then yeah, it just took us about 9 months to get together because, by the time I did actually finally get to speak to her, she was with somebody, or when she'd broken up with somebody, I was with somebody, and it just never seemed to kind of to match up. But
Right.
yeah, then yeah, we did finally get together, and that was 19 years ago, scarily enough. Yeah, kind of uh,
Crazy.
yeah, but yeah,
Wow.
2007 we got together and then got married in 2011. So yeah, 15 years of marriage. Yeah, children came along, so 12 and 9. But yeah, I say, but she doesn't remember passing me on the stairs. But clearly there must have been some kind of connection there, otherwise we wouldn't be together. Yeah, can't yeah,
Oh,
19 years later, it's madness really.
amazing. Okay, so your wife, she's watching this interview right now and have a moment, an opportunity to send her a message. What would you say she's watching?
Oh, thank you for putting up with me. She's
Good.
a very tolerant and patient lady, but she's so supportive because, as I was saying earlier, my brain not sitting still. It must be a nightmare for to live with, and she's always incredibly patient and supportive. And yeah, I wouldn't be half the person I am without her, is what I would tell her.
For sure. Beautiful. Love it. Two questions left. Let's do it. Do you like dancing then?
I like dancing, no.
No?
I have no rhythm at all.
Amazing. Next question is, what's the soundtrack of your life and why?
Do you mean the soundtrack as a song, or what's my favorite? Or what?
Could be like which song somehow when you think about it is one of your favorite songs that for some reason defines you or maybe you are connected with or it brings some memories. There's
I mean, I
something.
like. Oh well, song that gives me memories is "Toothpaste Kisses" by a band called the Maccabees. Are you familiar with the band? Are you familiar with the Maccabees?
No, I'm not.
No, they were kind of that uni vibe, and so they had a song called "Toothpaste Kisses," and that was played. That was my first dance. Now, there's two reasons why that's funny. A, it's only like a 2 minute song, And as I've said, I cannot dance, so it was done very quickly. And actually, most of the dancing was my wife dancing and me standing there awkwardly, like trying to do the robot, but it definitely wasn't a robot song. But also, when Nat and I started going out, we went and saw the Maccabees. So yeah, there's that one. Another song I like, Wheels by Foo Fighters. I've always loved the Foo Fighters. Do you like,
Wow. Yeah,
are you a
yeah.
Foo Fighters fan?
Yes. I'm not like I don't know all of songs, but I know who they are. Yeah.
So I love Wheels. It's got a good beat, and again, it's that whole momentum, keep on going. I like I like it. Now, somebody might watch this and say, Dan, you've completely misunderstood the meaning of the song, and I'll take that on the chin if that happens. But I do, yeah, I love that song. Yeah, so yeah, Toothpaste Kisses by the Maccabees and Wheels by the Foo Fighters. They'd be my two.
Wow. Saying that, then what will be the title of your memoir one day?
Um, I told you I could do it. And the
A good one.
reason, yeah, the reason for that is when when I was a very small well when I was 3 or 4, my mother I missed all my developmental goals. I missed all of them, and my mother saw I took me to a psychologist, and the psychologist basically said that I would always be bottom of the class and that I would never achieve anything in life. And they recommended that I went to a special educational needs for disability, so a SEND school. And my mother was, well, just like you know, probably something along the lines of, he's not thick, he's lazy, or something like that. And I've maybe done my mum a bit injustice there, and I apologise if I have, Mother dear, if you're watching this. But but I think yeah, I went to primary school, and you know and I struggled in mainstream school as an autistic child,
Mhm.
but I managed to get through. But um, when um when I did my nursing, I did my diploma, I asked my tutor at the time if I could do my degree, and he said he didn't think I could cut it. He didn't think he said, you haven't got it, Dan, you haven't got what it takes. And then when I went and did my social work, I got a first class honours. And then last year, when I completed my master's in business administration, I got a distinction. So I like to think that I've shown that gentleman and that psychologist. So yeah, I told you I could do it.
I
would
love
be
that. I
would be
love
mine.
I love that, then I love, and it's so interesting how those situations in life happen, and somehow, you go through it, and after when you achieve things, you go like, you know what, I can do it for sure, and I could do it, and I've done it.
Yeah, and it also we're too quick to write people off. And again, it goes back to what do I do? Well, I know that there are kids who are being diagnosed with autism, ADHD, dyslexia, whatever, being, and the expectations are set low. No, it's nonsense. No way. You're whatever you've been diagnosed with does not define you. So yeah, kind of that's the fire from within. That's like I don't ever want any individual, child, adult, to be told that you're less than because you happen to be neurodivergent or disabled in any way. And that's, yeah, I think it's, yeah, part of that as well. Maybe we could have a whole library full of people who said, I told you I could do it. So it would not be a one volume, it would be a multitude, like Alexandra's library kind of full. That's where we should be heading towards.
I'm so glad you shared that. I'm so glad, Dan, because it makes so sense. I think we, society nowadays, we need to be more open about that. I think we need to be more understanding as well. And as you said, we can do anything, literally, just because you've been diagnosed with something that maybe, it's just a fact. And, you can go through it and you can still do things that any other person can do. You know what I mean? For sure.
Yeah, and again I talk about this when the world without if we were all the same, if we all had the same brains, my God,
Be
how
born.
boring would it be?
Yeah.
The world without difference would be dull, and it's different brains. If we didn't have people thinking differently, you and I wouldn't be here, would we? Because the internet in itself is not. Who
Yeah.
came up with that? I'm going to develop something that will enable everybody to communicate from all corners of the world and make it happen, you know,
Totally.
is that something that maybe a quote unquote normal person would think of? Probably not, you know, and
No,
even, you know, again, I'm off on a tangent here, Williams. You need to stop me, let me know. But it's
it's okay.
interesting when people talk about neurodiversity, like neurodivergent being a modern phenomena. Michelangelo spent 15 years painting the Sistine Chapel. Now, obviously, he got down, but are you telling me that that was a neurotypical behavior? You know, Da Vinci with the helicopter, so on and so forth. Edison looked at thousands filaments before he developed the electric light bulb, and so on and so on and so on. You know, it's been around forever, neurodiversity, and always will be. So, yeah, it's so important to celebrate that difference.
Totally. That differences are is beauty behind. It's beautiful to be different. To I love being different. I think it's a gift when you know it, you embrace it, and you just live. I love that. You know what I mean? I think it's amazing. It's a great place to be for sure. Yeah.
Do you know also what's interesting is often the people that want us to be the same will be the same people that will talk about how beautiful the variety in nature is as well. It's like, well, how can you look out the window and see a plethora of birds and say that's wonderful, but then look at humans and try and get us to be all the same? Because it's, well, are you not seeing the contradiction here? So, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I agree with you, William. Yeah, it's knowing have that difference and embracing it. That's really cool. That's really powerful. It's like with my kids because they're at that age where they want to be like everyone else. I'm like, no,
No,
why do you
no.
want to be like everyone else? Try embrace your own identity. But it's funny,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because I don't know about yourself, but I remember being that age and wanting to be like everyone else. And then when I got into my 20s and 30s and definitely in my 40s, I'm like, whoa, I don't want to be like everyone else. I'm quite happy being me.
Amazing. Very good. Last question. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Do the last one. Okay, but before the last question, of course, people watch this interview right now, like parents, maybe they, you talk about autism, ADHD, some, kids. Now they think it's being a big topic and people talk about it. And it's amazing to be able to, to explore it, to be curious about, to understand, be more open, regarding that. So tell me something that maybe would you like to share with parents or maybe people that, they have kids or friends or could be anyone that maybe they've been diagnostic with that, and what will be your maybe advice or maybe a comment that would you like to share it regarding that?
My advice would be if you're a parent and your child has just been diagnosed with neurodivergent, kind of to um, take a deep breath and listen and filter out some of the noise because sadly there is a lot of negativity around that, but it's not all bad. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it and say there aren't challenges because there are, and I still have challenges. Obviously, there are definite things that I find more challenging than perhaps I wouldn't if I wasn't autistic. But actually, you know, your your children have got wonderful brains. It's not your children where the challenge is, it's the environment. So if we look at schools, right, schools are not conducive, they're not great environments. You know, from a lot of neurodivergent people, a lot of autistic people struggle with sensory stimuli. I do. If I go into a busy building, whoa, my brain is overwhelmed, which is why I wear loops. I have fidgets and I try and plan as much as I can. So now when I go into an environment, I'm already processing that. But I'm 44, I'm not six. And at six, I would go into those kind of situations and get overwhelmed and I wouldn't know why. And and my parents would have been the same. So I think it's about that. Secondly, you know your children better than any professional teacher, anybody will ever know them. So trust your instincts because you are spot on with that. You know, if a professional says something to you that you instinctively disagree with or doesn't feel right, challenge it. You know, listen to that. Um, and I think the third thing is, kind of there is support out there. Now, sometimes you have to look for it, and support, depending on where you are in the world, and definitely where you are in the UK, is not where it should be. But there is, yeah, kind of the local authorities. They have a duty to support kind of children with SEND, and you know, gosh, if anyone wants to, I'm by no means an expert with children. Maybe I'm not an expert with adults, but anyway, definitely not. But if people watching this want to DM me, message me, I'm happy to. If I may, with an adult, if you're a late diagnosed autistic person and you're thinking, my gosh, now what? Then again, trust your own brain. You've made it this far. You have survived in a world not created for you. Amazing. The fact that you have a diagnosis, the fact that you've taken that step to go and get a diagnosis is fantastic. So look at that. Start to start to make a list of your triggers. And it doesn't need to be some fancy work, but just make a note so that when you're going into a building or thinking, well, this, I don't like the noise, I don't like the light, I don't like the textures, think about that, start to make a list, because actually when you have a list, then you can start to think, well, what can I control? Now, you might not be able to control the noise in the office environment, but you could control where you sit. And actually another thing as well, that in the United Kingdom, under the Equality Act, you do not need a formal diagnosis to be covered under that act. And the amount of people I speak to who don't realise that, they think they need a formal diagnosis. No, you don't. The Equality Act does not mention diagnosis, it mentions impact as well. And in the United Kingdom, under the Equality Act, employers have a legal duty to offer you reasonable adjustments. And again, always happy to have a discussion with that. But the fun of it will be fine for the parents. Okay, your kid is still your kid. And the fact that they have that diagnosis doesn't change that. And likewise yourself, when I got my autism diagnosis, I almost felt like, where's Dan and where does the autism stop? I mean, they're meshed together, and that's cool. And there are things I do because I'm autistic, and there are things I do because I'm Dan, and that's cool.
Amazing. Great. Last question is, who are you most thankful for and why?
Oh gosh, there's a question. Can I say two people? I mean, it might be that. Yeah, I think like my mother for that support, because had she not advocated for me, then I would have had a very different life. And my wife Nat, because she's always been there for me. And yeah, I'm very grateful for the support she gives me and the life I have. So yeah, without my mother and my wife, then I wouldn't be sat here now, William, talking to you and being lucky to do the things that I'm able to do. So yeah, those two people.
Beautiful. Love it. Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to say some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Let's start with money.
Money, too much focus.
Fear.
Fear, embrace it.
Family.
Sorry?
Family.
Family, love.
Life.
For living.
Religion.
Sorry?
Religion.
Religion. Divisive.
Love.
Yeah, I think sorry?
Love.
Love.
Yeah, love.
Well, it's about life without love.
Politics.
Politics. Dangerous. Politics is dangerous.
Sex.
Sex.
Yeah, sex.
Meaning of life.
Friendship.
Friendship. Yeah. Friendship and love are combined.
Desire.
Desire. Passion.
Regret.
Learning. You learn from regret.
Success.
You learn from success as well. Oh, actually, success. Humility. You should be humble of success. Yeah, humility.
Wish.
Wish. For people to respect each other's differences.
Wow. Happiness.
Happiness. Finding joy in the simple things in life.
One word for Bristol.
Bristol. One word for Bristol. Oh, amazing is all I can say. I can't think of any other word. Yeah, amazing. Bristol's amazing.
England. One word.
England. Intolerant.
Wow. And the last one now. Neurodivergent mentor, one word.
One word for neurodivergent mentor would be, gosh, can I think of one word? This might be a while.
Okay.
Um, One word for neurodivergent mentor. It's guide. It's a guide. That's what it is. Being a mentor is a guide. You're a guide. Yes.
Of it. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your wife for a coffee and I'm going to ask her, define Dan in one positive and one negative word only. What should say about you?
Positive would be passionate. Negative would be chaotic.
Amazing. Let's play now Dan and the magic box and you can ask me a question. Okay, but before you ask me the question, of course, as a nurse, when you were a nurse, I'm sure you had so many situations, work with people that for sure, some of them you're never going to forget, some of those situations for sure you hold close to your heart. But tell me one of those situations that for you, you're never going to forget. For one reason or another, you're always going to have, close to your heart.
One memory I will always have close to my heart is that I worked with this gentleman who had quite a severe learning disability, and he wanted to make his own breakfast, but he struggled. He struggled to make his own breakfast, and I worked with this chap for a year, and at the end of the year, he was able to make his own breakfast, and
Wow.
that was amazing, and that's that's what I think of, And I've always said no one will ever write a book about that chap, and and arguably compared to other things I've done but for him that was such a big deal just to be able to make his own breakfast. Yeah, I'll always remember that chap. I'll tell you what, that was true determination. That stuff I've gone through pales in significance. This chap worked so hard to make that happen. That was, cool. He was that's who I think of. That chat was amazing.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps now. You're just saying that. And I'm just thinking now, imagine, him like eating his very first breakfast that he literally was able to make it. Imagine for him to taste it, that breakfast.
His smile, I can still see it. He was so
Wow.
proud. He was so proud of himself. And he went round, he had, he was telling people, made my own breakfast today. It was just amazing.
Oh
Yeah,
my,
it was, yeah. I haven't thought about that for a while. Thank you for asking the question. It's
I
funny. Yeah, yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, that was awesome.
what a moment. Oh my God. Wow, you made my day now with sharing this story. I love it. It's great.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
ask me a question.
I have a
You
question.
can
So
ask
my
me a question
question
now.
is, yeah, that's cool. So my question is, what is something that you are proud of that other people don't see?
Wow, what a great question. What a great question. Dan, when I was 19-year-old, I left Brazil on my own and I went all the way to Portugal. So I moved all the way to Europe. When you are 19, you think that you can do everything. The world is in your hand. You just can go for it. And you can, absolutely you can. It's not, but however, you don't have the support, the mental support, you know what I mean? You need a lot more. And when I look back as a 19-year-old, literally living, saying goodbye to your mom in the airport, your mom emotional, crying, and you literally thinking about starting a new life, the other side of the world. My God, when I think about that, at the time for me, I was just like, yeah, let me go. I didn't think about, what could happen. You just go for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fascinating how, when you're very young, how you have this brave mentality that you just can go and do it. However, when the reality hits you, there's no plan B anymore, just plan A. Because for me, I was so far away. Plan B wasn't there anymore. My parents, my family, they were not there anymore. So when I think about that, then for me, somehow I feel very proud about this 19-year-old William living Brazil on his own, across the globe and starting a new life where, I could just count on myself. I couldn't count on anybody else anymore. So I think for me, that's it's something about it that when I think about it, if I would have a child now, I wouldn't let him do that. Because I think it's a big step in your life. But I've always been so thankful and so lucky and grateful for life because I had people cross my path that I called them angels because I wouldn't be able to be here. When you're talking about your wife, your mom, and I understand that because some people they cross your path, they come the right time, they leave the message, they stay with you, and they are people that they for some reason or other they meant to be around you or somehow come into your life to teach you something, to help you somehow. And I think that's the beauty of life. So yeah, I think it's something that I'm very proud of this 19-year-old boy, this dream of living abroad. As a teenager, I started studying English when I was 12 years old, and I fell in love with the language. So during that time, I remember my dream was I want to live in a country where I can speak English every day. That was my dream as a teenager, 12, 13-year-old. Guess what? I live a dream because I live in a country where I can speak English every day. So so yeah, I think it's something that when I think about it, it warms my heart, and I feel so thankful for life to give this opportunity for me because it's not every day that you at 19 you cross the world on your own and looking for a better life or for opportunities in life. And I'm so grateful for that. That's my answer for you.
Oh, thank you. That's really cool. That's amazing. That is. That's so good. Can I ask you a second question?
Of
So,
course you can, of
do you
course.
think? Because I like. Do you think at 19 you were brave? And don't get me wrong, it is brave. Or do you think, well, you're 19 and you kind of think that the world will, you can mold the world to
No,
those? Like, how do you, as you are now, yeah, how do you reflect on that?
yeah, great question, great question. No, I didn't think that the word was easy or anything. I never felt that. I just felt like I remember back then. I It's funny because as a child, for example, I remember when I was 7, 8 year old on my school holidays, I remember asking my dad that if I could work. I literally want to work as a eight, and he said, "No, of course not. You are too young to work." And I was like, "No, I want to work. I want to do something." And he said, "No, no, no. You need to enjoy your school off now, time off." And so I always had this personality of going after my dreams and trying to learn and everything. So always had this mentality. And fun enough, when I say that my mom, of course, didn't want me to go, but at the same time as well, she said, "I'm sure you're gonna look after yourself because I know who you are, and I know that because I've always been very independent. Independent. I always wanted." So she knew it. It was hard for them, of course. My God, it wasn't easy. However, they knew that they couldn't stop me because I wanted so badly, and they knew it that I would make it happen somehow. So back to your question, I didn't think that okay, I can do it. It's going to be easy. No, I never thought about that. For me, I knew that was, of course, I say that, but I was scared at the same time as well. I was very scared. That it could go wrong, like in a big way as well. Imagine, but at the same time as well, when I look back now, no, I think that I didn't, as I said, I didn't think straight, about what
Mhm.
could happen. However, I knew that deep inside, I knew that, things could go wrong and I just need to work and move forward. And so, yeah, I don't know if I answer your question, but that's how
Yeah,
I
it
see
does.
it. I didn't think that would be easier. That's for sure. I knew it. That wouldn't be easier. But when you are 19, you have this imagination. You have this thing that, you know what, I can make it somehow. You don't think about reality, but I knew that I could make it somehow. But of course, it was hard. It wasn't easy. You get a job and starting a new life. So yeah,
But that is brave, isn't it? Because a lot of people have dreams and then they don't pursue it because they get kind of that fear of failure stuff.
totally.
But actually, to say this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it,
Yeah.
that is brave. So yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, yeah, I thought it was brave moving 200 miles away, but you've moved a couple of thousand miles away to a completely new culture. So yeah, that's amazing, William. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, it wasn't easy, say that. And but the thing is, Dan, when I think about it, it's funny because I knew it wasn't easy, but I always had this willpower. I always had that. That's something about me that I knew I could make it. I knew I could do it. I knew it. So somehow it was here already. And I think I always had this mindset. You know what I mean? I never thought it would be easy, but I knew that I would make it somehow. So I always had that in my mind. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah, I do. You feel it within you. It's like
yeah.
granite. It's like
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
and sometimes people will tell you it's not there, but you're like, no, I know who I am,
yeah.
and it's that. So I can completely understand. I think it's yeah, and I say life isn't easy, but it's always nothing easy in life is worth doing anyway, right?
Totally.
And obviously you've proven yourself. So and so I
And
think a lot of people, you know, they're so full of that fear of failure stuff. I've
and
I get it intellectually, I get it, but I don't
yeah,
understand. I mean, I don't everything I obviously have a life of regret because we've done stuff we wish we hadn't. But when it comes to stuff like that, I've always been I will do this. It might take me a very long time, but I will do it. I believe I have that confidence within myself, and I'm sure you have the same, William, and that's cool. I think that you need that, don't you?
totally. And when I say that, it come across as was just flowers, blue skies. No, no, no. It was a lot of storms as well on the way, like
Yeah,
big
yeah.
storms. But I was dancing in the rain when the storms was. I was literally dancing through it. You know what I mean? Sometimes crying, sometimes going through, but I was dancing to go through it, and that's the way to be for sure. That's the way to go. Amazing.
Sure, thank you. That's amazing. That's really interesting.
Did you enjoy the interview?
Sorry,
Did,
have
did
I
you enjoy
enjoyed the
it?
interview? Yeah, it's been cool. Yeah, it's been a fantastic discussion. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks again. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for being so open and accepting the invitation. And also thanks for sharing your memories in life, your journey. I think it's amazing to help people as well. You're talking about, your life overall, autistic and all of that. And I think it's amazing to see someone talking about it because it's just about helping others and people appreciate that for sure. So thanks again for being so open and talking about it.
No, thank you. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, and I hope people listening found it helpful. Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
massively important. So yeah, thank you.
And before you go, Adam, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
I think one of there's a quote by Abraham Lincoln that said, "I may he well, it's attributed to him that he said, I may walk slowly, but I never walk backwards." And I think that's how, yeah, I like that quote. I think that's how, yeah, that's how I feel. I'm always moving forward, and sometimes I'm crawling forward, and sometimes I'm inching forward, and other times I'm sprinting. But yeah, I always like that quote. I believe it's attributed to him. So yeah, that's my quote. It's on behind me. I've got it on my board. I look at it every day.
Amazing. Love it. Thanks
Yeah.
again. Regards to your family, your friends, your kids, and you keep in touch. Okay. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Okay.
Yeah, likewise, William. Amazing to to meet you, and thank you for the invite again. It's been really interesting. So yeah,
Thank you
enjoy
so
the rest of
much.
your weekend.
Take care. You too. Bye bye. Take
Cheers.
care.
Bye. Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye. See you next time.